Hello there, Mr. Hansen and Mr. Michaelvich. Good to see that you both have arrived today for this mediation. My name is Robert. You're going to have to excuse me. I am a little bit under the weather, so if I do cough, just ignore that, right? Though, with that said, me and my partner here are going to be mediating for you today. We are going to pretty much let both of you speak your piece and tell us your perspective of the situation, and hopefully you can open up an ear so that you can understand each other too. Also, we are going to keep everything in here. Everything that's said in here will stay in here. So we're gonna treat it like a Las Vegas saying, you know, whatever happens in this mediation stays in this mediation. Other than that, would you like to add anything?
Yeah. So I just want to thank that you guys are here. I know it takes a lot of courage to come here and be honest and have goodwill. When you guys start, I just want you both to listen to each other and, you know, have time and let, you know, the other one speak. You know, no interruptions. And I want you to speak about what has been affecting you and how it has impacted you, and after that I want you to find out your wants and to think about that later as well, but right now to just focus on what's been going on and how it's been affecting you. And before so I would like maybe Mr. Malkovich to start. Malankovich to start. About what's been going on.
If you feel comfortable at this moment, you know, go ahead and share everything you would like to share with us. Try to open up as much as you can, because this is a place where we're going to try to get as much information that we need to understand and that both of you will also need to understand. And with that said, you may go ahead and start.
Alright, forgive me if I forget anything, but what I've witnessed with my own two eyes since living here, the Hansons here have been housing a student or some individual, teenager I guess, Croatian kid. He's been swimming in the pools with no supervision, just like roaming around the neighborhood, I don't really know what he's doing, but I mean, like, I'm at home. I don't feel safe with him just out without anybody watching him, and he's not even a resident of the neighborhood. And so, I sent the Hansons a letter confronting them about it. They just sent me a letter back saying that I was a hateful person, racist, this, that, like, whatever.
I also told you that he was actually allowed to be in the neighborhood, so
I don't remember you telling me that.
You should have brought the letter because it was in there.
Alright, well, with that said, just continue on.
Yeah, and so I briefly spoke with the homeowners association, but same goes with them. I didn't really get any much clarification on the whole situation, so I'm honestly still not sure if he's even a resident, who he is, and like why he's staying there, and why he has access to the pools when the rules clearly state that you need to be with somebody that's a resident of the neighborhood, and why he gets that privilege, what nobody else does.
Alright, is there anything else that you would like to add?
Oh. Not really.
Okay, so what is it about him roaming around the neighborhood that makes you feel uneasy?
I mean, I have a couple kids, and with them staying at home, I'm not really sure what he may be up to. I don't know him, so I don't know his intentions. I've never seen the guy before, and so he just pops up going in and out of their house, living there for the past couple weeks. I'm not really sure what to suspect.
What kind of actions or things he's been doing around the neighborhood that you can recall?
Nothing.
He's going to the pool without supervision. I see him roaming up and down the streets with a couple of his friends sometimes. I may or may not have seen him smoking pot or something. I don't know what's going on, honestly, and I feel like the Hansons don't either. They're just kind of housing him, saying that he's a student. Just
Pretty much he breathes, and you
Alright,
just have
so
problem with that.
for this, the way the mediation is going to work is we're gonna hear out everything that Mr. Milankovic has to say, and then every comment or question that you have, you can write it down or keep it for the end of
I don't need to write anything down because everything he's saying is pretty relevant. So.
Well-
I know it's hard right now, but we'll get to you and you'll get to speak right after
Let's
we, figure out more information.
continue with your lies.
wow.
Just go ahead and let us know, tell us more about how you're feeling, and then we'll continue on.
That's pretty much how I'm feeling.
Can you tell us a little bit about the house owner memberships, how guests are? Do you know information about that, or can you explain some information about the restrictions they have on guests?
From my understanding, in the homeowners association contract, if you're not of like immediate family or a family member of the homeowner, then you need to purchase a membership for the person to receive the benefits of the community. And it's to my understanding or my lack of information that the student's a member. At least I haven't heard any information about him being a member.
Alright, so with that said, I do have another question. What makes you think that he hasn't gone through that process?
Well, a few times I shouted at him trying to get his attention. He just kind of ignored me, and so then I kind of just took it as like a sign of ignorance and that he was just kind of trying to sneak around the rules. I mean, if you were a member, why wouldn't you confront another neighbor that's trying to speak with you?
How would you feel if someone shouted at you?
I mean, it wasn't shouting in a sense of that, a threatening shouting. It was a shout. It was a shouting trying to get his attention.
Trying to get his attention. Alright, so, there may be a chance that, even though you were trying to get his attention, he may not have heard you, and, with that said, going off of that assumption that he heard you and just walked away might not be the best thing to think, though, with that said, are you feeling this, do you know everyone within within your neighborhood?
Pretty much. I mean, a lot of the people that are living there, they've been there for a while, so I'm pretty familiar with all of the faces in the neighborhood. That's why it kind of stood out seeing somebody live here.
And so, sometimes people bring in family members or visitors, or even on business trips, they'll bring people over that where they can have them come visit or even stay for a short while. Would it not be acceptable, or sorry, let me rephrase that. How is it that this person in particular has caught your attention, other than other people?
Just like I said, it was just a new face and just his actions and the way he was carrying himself throughout the neighborhood just had me a little suspicious, me having 2 kids at home.
What did
I
he
was
do?
just looking out for him.
What did he do exactly that had you worrisome or fearsome?
I just wasn't really sure what he was doing with his group of friends when they were out in the street, just like hanging out and talking. I'm honestly not sure what teenagers do on their free time nowadays, to be honest.
They were actually just sitting around talking.
I
understand that, you can be very cautious of different people that are coming into and out of your neighborhood, and that it may raise awareness. Though with that said, there are a lot of times where people do just sit and talk. I'm not sure if that's what they were doing. I would just like to know, have you done anything else to communicate with Mr. Hansen here or the teenager himself to see exactly the plans are, or the plan of action is for the kid. And,
Did you ever think of asking Mr. Sampson why the kid might be staying with him?
No, honestly, this is honestly like my first hearing of like actually seeing Mr. Hansen here and him saying that the kid was a student staying here. It was honestly, all I was hearing was a lot of like rumors and whatnot.
So you
And
heard.
just my personal observations of him and his action.
alright, and that makes you certain that, let me rephrase that. So, having found that new knowledge, are you in any way, are you in any way feeling different about the student himself, or anything like that?
I honestly can't say that I do because I still don't know him. I just know that he's associated with Mr. Hansen now.
And by being associated with Mr. Hansen, are you also recognizing that he is probably a tenant living there with Mr. Hansen, or that he is just a person there who's there for a few days?
I'm not sure how long he's staying. I just seen him the past couple weeks, and that's why.
It seems like you don't know enough information to figure out how to feel. So, how about we hear a little bit from Mr. Sampson's side of what's been going on, and maybe he can give you some info on some of the things you've been curious about.
Right, because it does seem as though a lot of the issues that are arising with what you are telling us has to do with a just borderline lack of information.
And assumptions.
And assumptions.
You don't want to feel like that.
Right, and that is a reaction of fear, and such like that. So with that said, we'll go ahead and hear his side, and hopefully that will help you understand more and relinquish some of that fear. All right, so will you go ahead and begin, Mr. Hansen? And I did see that you had a question earlier. I didn't miss that. If you would like to ask that question, now is the time.
No, I forgot now. It's cool.
Okay. If you would go ahead and let us know what you would like to say.
Let me just first start off by addressing the fact that I took this student who is an immigrant from Croatia into my household to offer an educational opportunity. My spouse and I have offered a 2-year housing deal with him so he can go to community college and get that done and benefit his future. And as we did that, we went to the homeowners association. We made sure that they were aware of what was going on to make sure that we weren't in fact breaking any bylaws, because we're aware of how people in our community are very vigilant about those. And I've never had a problem with pretty much anyone in the neighborhood. We've both been here, both long-standing members of the community, and I've never had an interaction with them, with Mr. Melikovic before. It seems to me like the Croatian student is the sole issue here, because again we haven't had any other problems. He doesn't seem to have a problem with my daughter, who he, if following the same sort of logic, might try to. He's been given the authority through the house or the homeowners association. It doesn't. Oh, actually, and what I was going to say earlier, now that we're back to that, because the homeowners association does not require them to have any sort of like familial bond to me. As long as I claim them as a member of my household, they are a member of my household. And
How was I supposed to know he was a member?
because I damn told you in that damn letter that I sent you in response to your overly aggressive letter that you sent me. So you knew.
I feel
So
like
with that said, you know, that is a part of the assumptions that we are trying to overlook right now. You know, what has happened is something that we cannot change. What we can do now is to simply move forward. And you know, no one's going to be blaming you for not knowing. No one's going to point fingers and say, you know, this is why this is happening right now. Rather, we are going to say, all right, so there was a misunderstanding. Let's move forward from that. Let's go ahead and change that misunderstanding to an understanding. And that is definitely what Mr. Hansen is trying to do at this point. What did I say?
Furthermore, he's still by that logic he is considered a member of our household, meaning he is a associate of the homeowners association, meaning he does not need anyone's damn supervision to go in that damn pool and swim and enjoy his day.
All right, so let's go ahead and, you know, calm down a little bit more.
how did I put all that?
I'm sorry, you know, your passive aggressiveness here towards something that I'm housing and that you're creating problems for, that gets on my nerves. This is
Right.
unnecessary on your behalf.
It's
So-
unnecessary for
Understand.
me to feel unsafe because there's a stranger roaming around the neighborhood all of a
He's
sudden.
not a
So
stranger.
let's go ahead and
because
take
I
this.
know him. The fact that you don't know him, that's your problem. Go, feel free to address him. Have a conversation with him. That's
So
your
if
choice.
I had like a couple people staying over and you didn't see them before and they're just hanging out in the neighborhood,
My
having a
assumption
good
would be,
time,
oh look,
smoking and swimming in the pool.
I'm pretty
and
sure
just,
he
like,
hasn't smoked. He's
Okay,
not a
so
smoking student. So.
With that said, let's go ahead and
you
take
don't
a
know
step
what he
back.
does.
Earlier, you did tell us that you weren't sure what they were doing. So with the statement just now, you know, I would assume that was an assumption. As I've said before, we're trying to move beyond the assumptions and we're trying to see the situation more clearly.
And it does seem that Mr. Sampson does, Hanson, I'm sorry, you are concerned with the law too, and you don't wanna break it, and that, you know,
Yeah,
you
I've
don't
been
want to do
I've been
anything
very
wrong.
cautious to make sure that wasn't something that happened, and the fact that he's coming up with these claims is absurd, really.
Mhm. And I understand, you know, neighbors can assume and feel uncomfortable when someone new comes in, you know.
To answer your
So-
question, if I saw people I didn't know, my first assumption wouldn't be, oh, they're gonna break stuff, they're doing something wrong, they're here to break rules, I don't like them, because A, that's not only presumptuous, but B, there's so many other existential like factors that could contribute to them being there.
And
That
so
you're
if you've seen somebody that you never seen before, breaking the rules by being in the pool.
So with what he's been saying, understanding that he is already claiming that, you know, he's a part of the household and that actually is not breaking the rules. Once again, that is a part of the past year that we were trying to overlook because that once again was an assumption on your part that he was breaking the rules and he was doing certain things that were, you know, wouldn't be the best to be neighbor friendly, right? And you know, obviously you have to understand that he is irritated having be that you have made these past assumptions and for that reason he is now showing that aggression in here. So with that said, just try to be understanding in this point and for you, Mr. Hansen, I would ask you to just tone down a little bit on the anger. It's actually
It's
good
not
for
anger,
your
it's just frustration.
the frustration and to you know just continue on, but also understand that because he is here, he is trying to see this differently also. So I understand that you're frustrated. With that said, go on.
I just don't feel like someone that I have taken into my house should have to feel attacked by somebody because they feel like because they think the worst of everyone else. That's your
What?
problem.
Can you explain attacked?
I mean, you know, he's yelled at him. You know, it's something that's now making him feel. I'm sure making him feel uncomfortable now that it's being brought up to me, and it's something that I have to address and take care of. You know, obviously that's gonna involve me having conversations with him about it. So yeah, no, I don't. If I feel like if you have a problem with him being there, don't be there when he's there. Leave. Everything's gonna be safe. You can go back the next day and look. Everything's gonna be the same. He
So-
didn't do anything wrong.
So it's good to see your overall concern for the member of your household, and it's great to see that you're also taking responsibility for that person. Now, I would like to ask though, from what we've heard with Mr. Milankovic, he hasn't been able to come into contact with the child or the teenager. And you have clearly stated that he fears Mr. Milankovic.
Not fears. I mean, that anyone expressing these sorts of obviously independently discriminatory feelings, that can make anyone feel uncomfortable.
What discriminatory?
How would
feelings?
you feel if you got a chance to get to know a student, who's the new student in your neighborhood? How would
I mean,
you
I
feel?
wouldn't mind talking to him, but I feel like I already know who he is pretty much. I know his type.
And explain that. How do you know who he is?
Just like students like him, just coming in thinking like, oh yeah, it's just school. I can do whatever I want. Like, people are just gonna hand me stuff because I'm going to school. All I have to do is just get good grades, and I can do whatever the hell I want.
I'm not
So, Mr.
handing him
Milanko-
anything. I'm giving him an opportunity to better his life. That's me providing an opportunity. That has nothing to do with like me feeling like that's something that he's asking of me. That's something I will.
Yeah, you're just
do.
providing it for him.
So,
But he's still getting it.
because not all people have that opportunity. So
But
if I
in
can
the
help,
end, it
if I can
still
help,
ends up being one of those
alright, so I want
people.
both of you to listen to this perspective and let me know how you think about this. So, you are coming into the situation saying that I'm gonna let this teenager stay here, and be able to go to school while he's living in our place, using the pool, maybe the playground, or just different areas where he can communicate with other students or people in general, right? So with that said, you feel like you're doing him a good deed and that's all on you. Now, if it's all on him, how is it that when he's telling us this, that you are still thinking that the student is a freeloader?
Because isn't he?
When really you don't know if the student has offered to help at all, or if the student does do any,
And I didn't at first, but he's just finished explaining that he is providing for the students, so it only validates my assumption.
right, but you don't know why or what other circumstances on top of.
I don't.
let me put it
But-
let me put it this way for you, because he very well could have went somewhere and worked and done that and earned his living that way, but that's not how I chose to make it for him. So
And why did you choose to make it for him like that? And
because
who
I-
are you to him to even do that? Like, why?
I don't have to be anybody to him. I'm just being somebody to people in need, or not even people in need, because he didn't necessarily need me to do that. I'm here to try to help take off a burden from someone's shoulder while they're going to school, because I know what that's like. And if you can't understand that, it's to help a child to get their education. If you don't think that's like important, or something that's worthwhile, maybe you have some reevaluating to do as a
Oh,
parent
I
yourself.
don't, because I'm a single parent that's trying to send my 2 children through college as well.
So you're upset then because
Let's-
you can't afford it and no one's gonna give them handouts.
What we need here is, to be honest, just some more information. What are the circumstances that you are giving this kid for living there? And on top of that question, I would like to ask you, what was his living condition before you decided to give him some housing and some
I'm
support?
not entirely sure. It's not something he's really opened up with me about in the month that he's been here. Our initial deal was that I would offer him, my wife and I would offer him housing for a 2-year period so he can get his associate's degree before returning to Croatia, and that was the extent of our agreement.
And
We're hosting him. It's that simple.
okay, so I would like to reiterate the question on what are the circumstances that you have given the kid for living there. Is he
As long as
Is
he
he
follows the
abiding
rules,
by the
as long as he's not disruptive to our community or our household, which he has been. He's been very, cooperative with us and respectful because we gave him that opportunity. So he has no reason to disrespect, the neighborhood or the laws or disregard anything that we ask of him.
Right, and so one of the concerns that I'm sure Mr. Milankovich has is the idea that you have let this person into your household without knowing their current or their past living condition, or if or
he was from Croatia. I can imagine it probably wasn't the best of living situations.
But you don't know him, and then you come bringing him in, handing him all this stuff.
I'm not
He
handing
has-
him anything. I'm not, monetarily, I am not handing him anything. I am only handing him a place to live, and that's not.
Food and clothes and a swimming pool, and
So I'm a bad person.
spending money because he doesn't have a job.
You're trying to villainize me for
No.
doing something good.
I'm saying
That's what you're doing here.
I'm
because you're-
saying you don't know the
Mr.
extent.
Israel, I know you probably don't really understand the situation because it's probably something new to you, which it's totally understandable. This is something that's not every family does and not every kid gets to experience. And it's all about, opening your mind and understanding that he's doing something positive for someone who didn't have enough to support.
And I understand that in that sense that you're presenting him with an opportunity, but from my standpoint, he's still a stranger, even to you. What is he like on studying abroad or something? You
Yes,
didn't,
yes,
you didn't
that's
grow up
always
with
weird.
him. You don't know how his parents raised him. You don't know what he's capable of.
Can you explain to me-
if he's an educated individual and
Mr.
having
Simpson,
made
Can you explain to me how that affects you?
What,
It doesn't.
Him being a stranger, and me not knowing what he's capable of. Him living a couple doors down from my family and my children.
Is he in your but how does it affect you if he's not in your personal space and you don't have to?
I'm just not comfortable.
That's your
And-
problem.
tell us what makes you feel uncomfortable about it. If you had to narrow it down, what truly makes you feel uncomfortable about this person moving in?
I mean, it's just somebody that neither of us have much information about it. It's a Croatian stranger that's just staying there a couple houses down. Like, what is there
Don't
not
you
to
think
feel?
I would have more right to feel like suspicious, if anything, than you do, and I'm not. So
So
Well,
I feel like
of course, you
there's
have a
I
different
feel
level
like
of
there is more,
comfortability.
Mr. Milankovich. I feel like there is more.
I'm letting him
Mr.
into
Hanson,
my
can
house.
you
I
please
have.
relax?
Hold on, I have a question for him. May I ask
Then
this?
then just hold on to it. Let me go ahead and
Can you write it
address this.
down?
You can also
Or-
write it down. So, my question to you, Mr. Milankovic, is why is it that this student being a Croatian is a big deal for you? Because you've mentioned that multiple times now, and I feel like there is an issue there that that needs to be spoken of.
Because we want to understand you, so can you please help us
I-
understand you?
I just don't feel comfortable around them. Like it's not a complete race thing, but they just have a history of not being a very trustworthy person. And
And-
he's already based off of what I've seen, him not speaking to me about his situation when I seen him, and him just going into the pool, and then me trying to confront him about it, and just him kind of blowing it off is just seemed
But
suspicious.
one thing you mentioned is that you wouldn't mind having a conversation with him, at least getting to know him to just clear out any stereotypes or assumptions he might have, correct?
Yeah, but he denied those opportunities.
Well, you told us that you never got in contact with him. Because
Oh, I've attempted though, and I've attempted
Right.
to get in
And
contact
so,
with Mr. Hanson.
with that said-
You got in contact.
With that said, let's go ahead and turn this over to you. But before you start, just remember that he is now understanding more, right? And he is, instead of making more assumptions, he is dealing with the new information that he's taking in. It is a lot for Mr. Milankovic. I'm not necessarily defending him in this sense, but what I am saying that taking all of this in, his perspective may be changing. And if you have a question that might come off as derogatory or anything of the such, I would first ask you to go ahead and rephrase that in a way that moves this conversation forward. So can you please?
I just feel like you're worried about nothing, and you're talking about how you're afraid of this and that and that because you don't know him. But if you think about it, me and my family have more to lose if anything goes wrong because we don't know him. But I'm not condemning him because I don't have a problem with him. And I'd rather learn about him, just like he's here to learn about us, our culture, and whatever he needs for his education. But if you can't be open-minded, that's your problem.
How long has he stayed here?
1 month.
So he's.
How long have you known him prior to him moving in?
We had a brief, exchange before he actually moved here, just to kind of like a pre-screening thing to make sure I was comfortable with it, and now we're hosting him.
So to be honest, with any type of housing, that is really how it goes. A lot of these house owners, before they get anyone to move into the house, they do have a pre-screening, such as the same thing. So really,
So would you let an 18-year-old that you've met for a couple hours?
Truth is, I am not a house owner, so I wouldn't be able to answer that question. Though with that said, it seems as though the process is very similar. So he didn't go out of his way to just randomly give this person what he has as of this moment. Though hearing that Mr. Milankovic has stated that he is willing to talk to the student, do you think you might be able to make that happen?
Or arrange that to,
Since he is a member of your household.
Right, but I can't command him to do that. I can ask him, but I'm not entirely sure that he'll be comfortable enough speaking to you about it. I mean, you're not entitled to have him open up to you. It is just as much your choice to go up and walk up and ask him questions as it is for him to respond to them.
Right.
But
And-
I mean, at least trying is all that.
Right, but I can't force him. Like I said, I can ask him.
Yeah.
But there's no guarantee, and I know personally I wouldn't want to speak to you after all this crap. So.
Well, aside.
But it's very appreciated
Yeah.
that after all this, we can just move forward and.
I mean, but see, here's what I don't want. I don't want the individual that I'm housing to say something and have him contort it in his mind, and it be something completely different and be back here just because he wanted to change wording and make it suit him. And of course, no one else would be there to verify what was said.
Right.
So.
So how
So
do you
as-
feel about that?
I'd just like to speak to him. I'm fine with that.
Alright, so Mr. Milankovic is fine with taking the chance of being able to speak with him, regardless of whether or not he would say that he doesn't want to or such. We don't know exactly how he would feel about this, for the reason being that he isn't here right now. Though what you did say earlier, I did take note of this, was the idea that this is a student who's been brought into our culture. He's learning, being educated in our education system and such, and so it sounds like he's an open person. And from his side, it sounds like he doesn't really know Mr. Milankovic, and so having him communicate with Mr. Milankovic in a meeting or in another mediation perhaps will be maybe a little stunning for him, because he might not have thought that there was a problem, but the chance of having this be improved would be good for the situation that you're both in. Otherwise, I think we can look at this in a way that's it's good to take a chance and to see perspectives differently, rather than just continuously go in a circle and you continuously be worried about the child and his action, the teenager, I'm sorry, and for you to continuously get frustrated at him for being as worried as he is. You both have different grounds to work on. You both have different feelings that are continuously aching at you, and that's honestly respectable, because it makes sense that you would receive those feelings as a result of what's been going on. But if you aren't willing to take a chance and change that, then how can you say that the situation's going to get better? And with other than that, that defeats the purpose of being here. We have already gone and established quite a lot of information But I feel like there's still some more that needs to be talked about, so if there's anything else both of you would like to bring up, as of now, now's the time.
No, I'd like to speak with the student. The homeowners association, whichever one has some tangible answers.
Before I even attempt to, get him to talk to you, I want to know that I want an example of your open-mindedness, I guess you could say. I want an apology for that rude and harassing letter that I was sent. And I would hope that you can find it in you to apologize to him for any potential misunderstandings when you do have the time to speak to him.
But what do you mean by to him? 'Cause
How am I gonna
how-
apologize for something that I haven't even spoken to him about yet?
What did he
I mean,
say
because
to
it's-
him?
it's-
Secondly,
I mean,
I'm not
it's-
gonna
it's-
apologize about the letter because that's honestly how I felt at the moment, and that's my assumptions were validated at that time.
They were never validated.
Your assumptions were actually not validated, as you've told us.
They were validated by my thoughts and by my
Meaning
two
they weren't
eyes.
validated at all.
So, from what we are understanding, it sounds like really you were really in a state of fear or distrust that, being in that state of mind, your thought process is now how you feel it actually happened.
It's more
When-
of just, those are your feelings. It's
Yeah.
not,
And so it's not so much validated.
it's not valid.
That's what validated me writing the letter to Mr. Hanson. What I seen.
That's understandable. Now, so let's go ahead and think about this a little bit more. So, you both are basically saying it's okay to get this new meeting with bringing in the teenager so he can explain how everything of his perspective. And it might be a little surprising, so I don't know if saying sorry might be the right answer because, maybe it's not something that will be...
No, it is because it doesn't make me want to cooperate with him.
Well, the point is, although that's how it affects you, that's not how it affects the teenager.
Yeah.
And he hasn't come in contact with the teenager from what we understand. So an apology would just throw the situation into a different curve. Now,
Also, because he's
What-
aware of the situation.
is he?
Yeah, I mean, we've had conversations about the fact that this is happening. I mean, there's going to be some sort of silent discomfort that he's going to experience when being around Mr. Milinkovich.
That's
It
what we're gonna
sounds like
speak.
as if Mr. Hansen he needs something more than just an apology. Can you further
I mean,
explain?
because I'm not the only one that's been affected by this. He has too. And so I feel like rightfully, as a respectful adult, you should be able to apologize to the people that are being affected. And he is being affected, so...
With that logic, would you feel... how would you go about saying sorry if the situation did call for it?
But it doesn't, so
Well,
why would
if
I?
it's
all you have to
okay-
say is, I'm sorry if I've...
Why would I fabricate an apology?
In any part of your
What?
conversation, you can say, I'm sorry if I've made you feel uncomfortable. Boom, done, there you go. That's it, that's like 5 words.
Well, then I should get the same from him then, because I felt uncomfortable having
Because
him in
of,
the neighborhood.
right, because of your perceptions that were actually not valid. That's you. You want to give yourself an apology? Do that. He
So
doesn't know
let's
you.
go ahead and let's take a step back.
I want
if-
to know your needs for being here.
My needs,
What
I just,
you
I need
want
to, I need to hear an apology. I feel like that's something that I deserve. And while you may not feel that he deserves an apology, I also believe that.
Okay, and what about Mr. Malkovich? Out of all the information that you
I
got
just
to
want
hear
to
today,
get to
what?
meet the kid because I still have no idea who he is and it's still to me a stranger living in the neighborhood and I just don't want him to be a stranger. That's
Mhm.
that's
Do
the
you
only thing
always-
that I'd like of the
Have
situation.
have you got to speak to the other neighbors to get to know them as well?
I know a lot of the other neighbors. We've all been living here for years, but
Okay.
he's
Alright, so with that said, it sounds like, if for you, having an apology for the teenager is something that you really do want. Though I would suggest that at this point, maybe that is just a little bit out of reach, though, having Mr. Milankovic say that he's willing to speak to the kid and repeating with that sentence, saying that he just wants to talk to the kid, might just be enough for better understanding that might lead to an apology. As again, we've been talking about taking a chance, that's something that you might just have to go out on a limb for. Clearly, Mr. Milankovic is taking a step forward and trying to aid the situation. And so I would ask you, would you be okay with still taking a step forward, even though he's not going to say that he would say sorry at this very moment?
I mean, but then it's like I'm the only one making any effort here because I'm not being given an apology. The student is not being given an apology.
Let's go ahead and
I don't know what exchange me and the student may have.
well, let's take a step back again. I did totally miss it. I'm sorry. Would you be willing to say sorry to Mr. I'm sorry, your name again was one more time.
Mr. Hanson, you've been here for how long and you don't know that?
I'm sorry. I'm just human. I make mistakes too.
I remembered.
There you go. So with that said, would you be willing to just apologize at this very moment for any ill feelings that you may have brought upon Mr. Hanson or anything like that?
I guess I can apologize for my assumptions, but they still haven't been totally proven wrong. So it'd be an unsincere apology. If that's what you want to hear. Do you want to hear me say I'm sorry?
But since you don't have any assumptions at this moment, and you're kind of getting back to that moment of writing that letter and didn't know anything, but now that you know why the student's here, you can kind of think, oh, okay, I was wrong about that. I'm sorry that I was wrong and I jumped to an assumption.
But see, that's what I'm saying. I still haven't been able to speak to the student, so I don't know if those assumptions are wrong still.
But they are. Because the whole premise for
And
your
you're
argument.
just saying that based off of
No, I'm saying
that's been living with you.
I'm saying that has nothing to do with your original argument as to why we're here.
But him being in the pool.
Yeah, that was the whole premise of that he was doing harm, that he was freeloading, that he was there unrightfully. Like he wasn't. He was cleared. Everything's taken care of. Wasn't doing any damage. Wasn't doing any harm.
To be
So
honest,
all of your presumptions were already resolved.
to be honest, Mr. Hanson, I feel like you have actually taken the point of this mediation and misunderstood it. We are not here to tackle a single issue, but rather multiple issues. And the process of that would entail that we talk about certain issues that have more gravitas to the situation. Although we may have come in to hear about the pool, Mr. Milankovic seems to speak more about just the student himself being a stranger. And so, that is something that we would notice, of course, and we would try to understand more about. And so, I feel like Mr. Milankovic has also understood, may not have actually said it, but I feel like he's understood that it doesn't have to do with the pool, but rather just the kid himself. And so relating it back to the pool is something that isn't so necessary at this point.
Alright, so I guess we can just set up a time to meet with the student. Maybe over dinner or something. But just don't see myself apologizing to Mr. Hanson today.
So how about, you can think about it and not at this very moment, it's time to say an apology. Maybe today's not the day. Today is the day to create an understanding and seeing it in the same view. But today, have to be an apology to one another, but just an accepting, understanding, and taking it, getting the information, and taking it from there.
I definitely feel
Yeah.
like it was a step in the right direction, but I was also misinformed earlier, but yeah, I'm just not comfortable apologizing.
Can you agree with his emotions and how he feels and take it to a point where you're like, okay, I understand?
No, I can't, but he's not gonna do it, so that he's made his decision, that is what it is.
So you understand, and that is the main thing we are trying to do here, so that we create that understanding between you two. And the next step will not be taken here, but wherever else you are able to meet, whether that is in a mediation or it is sitting down and having a conversation or anything
Why
like
don't we
that.
have a barbecue at the pool? So ironic, it would be great.
As ironic as it would be, that doesn't sound that bad.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. I mean, since the student loves going to the pool, I don't see why not.
Alright, well, with that said, I think that this mediation has actually been beneficial to the both of you. In the perspective that you now understand more of your feelings and each other's feelings, regardless of if you still have these ill feelings towards each other. The point is that you understand more. So with that said, I know you don't want to say that you don't want to say sorry. I would assume that you don't also want to shake hands, though. With that said, we can conclude here by signing a paper saying that
But
you
there's
have.
nothing to sign because nothing happened. So, I will have a wonderful day. You guys have a wonderful day, and I will get in contact.
I would just like to
with you.
mention to you that if you don't sign this, and this situation occurs one more time,
But there's nothing.
you are going to go into a full circle, and you will be here again,
That's
wasting
fine,
your
but
time.
but nothing- but
not gonna
nothing-
waste time. And what I understand is that you care a lot about the student that you've taken in.
Right.
Wouldn't it make sense to try to handle a situation that you know he has now understood and is
I did, and we've come to a compromise about what we're gonna do in the future. But I'm saying in terms of things that have happened here, nothing has been resolved here. There's no more conflict, so I don't understand.
But
Why?
Mr. Malkovich,
I
can you
mean-
explain how you're not gonna send nasty emails? Even though you're not apologizing, you're not going to harass him, you're not going to,
That's unforeseeable, so I can't.
but that's why he's going to confirm that right now, and by signing documents, that you're here to hear that for yourself and him saying that. So, I know, you agree that you did, gain some information,
Yeah.
and your assumptions are not, there anymore, so in the future, there's no reason that there would be any emails or angry emails sent to Mr. Hansen.
If we were to rephrase that, we're basically asking, are you to be sending him any?
No, the only reason why we're getting in touch now is to set up a meeting.
Is that not?
That's we've agreed upon.
Because now, today, you're taking a step forward to resolving more. I mean, we can't, change the way you feel. We're trying, and we're hoping that you're mindful to this and staying positive. And we're thinking about the student instead of just, yourself. This is about the student and his,
Has been.
being comfortable. But you're making an effort to that, and that's great. I think, Mr. Malkovich sees that now, and I hope nothing but the best for the future for both of you. I think you guys have, started off and ended this in a very positive way. I just want to thank both of you for taking the time to be here, you know, and I'm glad that you got to say what you needed to say. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Tell me, are you feeling uncomfortable right now, or?
Nope, I'm ready to go.
Alright. So, with that said, you know, to end the mediation, just as protocol, it's you would sign the paper saying that you've been here, and okay. Alright, so with that said, hopefully your situation can be handled better in the future with whatever you do decide to do. Alright? Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
What were you doing about the play?
Prepare for the parties in terms of reading and understanding their roles, comment on how and whether the parties would have benefited from further study of their character roles, emotions, needs, interests, bargaining positions, facts, relationships, etc.
To be honest, I think there was a lot in there that was touched on, and you guys did it in a really strong way. Not that I saw coming, you know? So,
Sarcasm.
so yeah, it was like, it threw me off a bit when you were hella pissed off, and I was like, would a person like that be really pissed off?
It wasn't like a.
Yeah, you're always pissed off.
It was like an irritating.
He's always pissed off.
It wasn't like a like.
No, he was pissed off.
You were more pissed off than he was.
It got like increasingly.
Weird.
No, it got like increasingly upset. At first, I was just like, okay, well, here's the situation. Like, I'm pretty much here for nothing, right? So I was like,
Yeah, I feel like it was just more of like an irritant.
like,
I
why
don't.
am I here?
Yeah.
Like it's simple. Like I have everything that's required. And then I only got like upset like when we got into like the whole let's delve deeper into it thing, because I was like, right, but it still doesn't make sense. Like, and then at the end, I was just like, my discrepancy with the mediators, I was just like, whatever. And then like I don't know if it was like, because I felt that inherent like time gap between them, because like did you guys feel like
Well, do you feel like we focused on him more?
yeah, I feel like it's just
Damn.
like
Yeah.
I feel like it's
I don't know
just
why. It's
We-
just like
I think that
part of the scene,
I think maybe
right?
that's just how it happens, because
yeah.
she definitely tried to avoid
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah, I saw you guys making effort, but I was just like naturally it kind of just seemed like that's like what
That's how it's
like,
supposed to be. Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, but I
Well, he obviously had more issues
Yeah.
to like.
and so I feel like that kind
Explain.
of that like having to like sit and listen through like things that weren't
Like an
like,
hour of.
things that I just had no relativity to or didn't like. To me they didn't have like logical support to them, so I was just
Yeah.
like, this is getting more and more irritating the longer I'm here.
Mhm.
And then at the end, I was just like,
Can I leave? Right. But regardless, I think you guys did well. As for your character, like, dude, you swapped super fast. Like midway through, you were like, all right, I'm good. I understand more.
I was expecting a little bit more angst about
Yeah.
the race. To be honest.
I'm just not a good racist, I guess.
Yeah.
No, I
don't know.
mean it makes sense. It was kind of interesting though to see you upplay it like a little bit more, and then to see you not play on it so much. But neither
Wait.
neither
What did I do? I'm
you
sorry.
upplayed like the racism when you were.
Oh, I
Party,
did.
yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the things neither of you guys brought up was the daughter.
I know.
Yeah.
I forgot about the daughter again.
Yeah,
You guys
I-
just mentioned that in the beginning.
I was about
And
to
you
be
didn't
like,
focus on the swimming pool.
I just don't know. I feel like the daughter would just be a part of the circle.
well,
And
she
to-
was, but it's the same problem occurring, like him just being picky, but at the same time, like I could have been like, that's why I tried to be like, well, you're not picking out my daughter, so it has to be something with the Croatian, like,
Mm-hmm.
because I brought up like I was trying to find like ways to like bring up, yeah,
Yeah.
I was just like,
You know, we never touched on it. It was
Yeah.
pretty bad.
alright.
That would definitely be a part that we could have done better, was to find ways to implement that. I don't know. I guess it's just a part of.
'Cause it didn't.
I just thought it was more
understand.
focused on the pool.
And,
You guys
yeah.
didn't really like
And
the
the Croatian.
pool.
Yeah, and then at the end you were like, well, it's not about the pool, so I was like, So what are we here about?
No, to be honest, like the mediation, I feel like it flowed in a way that it really wasn't about the pool.
Yeah.
And
Like,
like,
I didn't
Yeah,
really
like-
make the pool relevant.
Yeah,
at,
you didn't.
At the end, that's why I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. That's what I was like.
Now what are we here?
Right.
now there's absolutely no reason to be here.
Mhm.
Alright, please comment on 1 or 2 points in time wherein the students portrayed the party's interests very well.
Oh, is this a question for all of us? I thought this.
I mean,
would
this
be
is
like,
more
how
for
do
you guys. This is
Okay,
more for
okay.
you guys. Like,
All right. For me, I thought you did great in how actually frustrated you were, because you're like, no, it's just, yeah, it's a little over the top, but to be honest, like if someone is messing with a person in your household that you care for, you're gonna be very defensive, you know.
I've only known them for a month.
Even
so.
if you know that's still time to bond and stuff. Like, so it was actually really good to see that come out and into play. Whereas in yours, you played on the idea of like assumption,
Yeah.
which is really
Happens.
it
And that's
happens. Yeah,
realistic.
it's really realistic.
That's what I feel like racists are. I don't know, like,
Inside,
I
where
wasn't,
you,
yeah, like, I
feel
wasn't comfortable just being like, I don't look, he's Croatian, like, I don't like Croatian. I was just like,
Mhm.
he
And then
does
they
this and
cut-
that, and I don't like
you
it.
just
like,
barely snipped it under
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, you know a Croatian boy. Yeah, it's just,
Yeah, I kept wanting to, like, I don't know. I just, like, so it is important that he.
I thought I brought that up.
I felt like you were trying to like foster that conversation.
I was
like you were like,
Did I?
yeah, you were like. So, but what is it about him being like Croatian? Like, or there was like some sort of comment like that, and I
I
was
didn't
like,
hear that.
Really?
Yeah.
I could have sworn I said, I've heard you say that this boy's Croatian. You
Yeah.
repeated it
and
multiple
I
times.
felt
What
like that
is
was
it
like your
about-
insight into the character that like came out. So I was like,
Is that bad?
yeah, because I was like, well,
But he was repeating it, so I was like, maybe
Right,
it's
but I
something
mean, like,
to touch on.
there had been no like extremely clear indicator that like that would, because without us having given him a name, which I was about to do at the end, I was about to be like Milo, like I was about to give him a name, but I was like, yeah, that's what we're just referring to. I think that's like the term. So I was like, okay, but I mean,
But it's like, why does he need to know so much personal information anyways?
Yeah,
Like,
that-
he's not
yeah.
living with you.
Yeah.
Like, you should stop caring, you
God.
old geezer. Jesus.
Saying you
I was
just
like,
focus,
it's not
it's not
important.
like just focus in your business and what it
I'm a
affects you.
racist.
That's
I
old.
was
You always
using
gotta
my
be that
family
with
safety
space.
as a cover up for my racism.
because the Croatians are dangerous. Like he's smoking pot. I was like, you don't know what he's doing.
I was just trying to make shit up on like
No, I
live, and I
kept
was like,
saying.
damn, like what the fuck did he do? I was like, oh, I mean, like, what did he do? Like,
No, it was
why do I not like
Because
him?
every time you said something, I was like, but Mr. Milakovic, in the very beginning, you said, you know, and then you're like, oh yeah, I did. Alright, anyways, next question.
Please comment on 1 or 2 points in time where the party's portrayal seemed unrealistic and did not contribute to the sense of realism.
I feel like we answered that. Yeah, I definitely feel like we answered that.
Alright. Question 4. Please provide a comment on each to each student / party as a way to improve their role play.
I don't know if it's a way to improve, because it works out just fine, but maybe you can tone down the rage just a bit, man. Every
your
single
attitude.
mediation.
It's like you have an attitude.
I gotta be
every-
pissed.
Well, no, I
if I'm
feel
a
like
phone character.
I mean I feel like I don't know. I just feel like you're not everyone can be like
Yeah, I feel like in a real
level-headed.
mediation, you might get a person that's really pissed off.
Yeah, and I don't know.
But
Like,
some-
But it just feels like the party that you were portraying as pissed off.
Yeah, I feel
I
like.
mean, it
Might
wasn't-
not come as pissed off as that.
like that's why like at first I wasn't like really like pissed off. I was being like courteous. I was like giving like okay like
And it's not like he was giving you attitude and yelling.
no.
So,
I mean did I yell?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you got to the point where you were yelling. And that's when we tried to calm you down.
Like, you were very, like,
You were very loud. It must be the room that's right.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it is, but it was like I was just, like I don't know.
Move into the camera more.
I mean as a party, I just felt like it wasn't. I don't know. I can definitely see like the tonnage down. Like I get that. Sorry, I'm looking for the spring.
No, it's cool. You got like, I don't know, I think like your character was like strong in the sense that you could portray a lot of things, and then when you portrayed it, I was like, this is really good at the very beginning, right? It's really good. And then like midway through when you're just starting to accept everything, I was like, wait,
Yeah,
hold on.
I noticed that in the beginning you showed your emotions, and then later on it was like,
Yeah, I couldn't take it
Really?
off.
Yeah, it's kind of like you lost focus like halfway through.
yeah.
I lost my racist enthusiasm.
Yeah, I kind of lost thoughts too. Like when I was like holding my hand, I was like,
I totally like didn't.
no, it's fine. I mean,
didn't-
like that's. I felt like okay, well, like that's good. Like in character, I was like, whatever. That gives it like time to like calm down and like try to like if it's still important enough, like I'll remember. And it really wasn't. So I guess like that worked kind of like in the mediation.
I was glad because I was like, okay, well I'm gonna test it out. I'm gonna just let you stay there and just keep your hand up.
And I think it like reiterated your control over the situation as a mediator, so it kind of like reinforced it reinforced that, so it wasn't something that was like bad.
I think I made sure to bring it back. Did I bring it back?
Yeah, you did.
Okay,
You said
so-
you. I noticed you had a hand up. You did. If it's still important, would you still like to ask it? And I was like, nah, it's not. I don't remember it.
I just wanted to say, fuck you. Alright, next question.
Let's see.
This sounds like what your character would have said, man. I was like,
I mean,
you.
at the end there.
Yeah.
Karina was like, I remembered. I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
Throwing him
You
under
guys
the
wrote
bus.
character. I was like, no, don't. Okay.
Please comment on the general disposition.
What's wrong with that? I mean, shouldn't you feel like
If someone remembers your name.
No,
someone
it's good. It just
did?
came off funny, you know. What was the question?
Please comment on the general disposition of each mediator. I felt like you guys were both pretty relaxed. I feel like at the end there, I kind of created like some party mediator like tension between you and I, and it was still kind of like neutral here.
Was it bad in the sense like what I was?
I
trying
mean,
to
I
figure out
felt
was-
like there were like daggers going both ways.
Mm.
Like so, I was like,
I felt like you were like, well, he's not gonna say sorry. He's not gonna like.
I felt like that was
Get
you
over
saying
it.
I'm not about to say
Yeah.
sorry. I was like.
It was just like, get over it. He's not gonna say sorry.
I was
Like,
like,
I
damn, I just
think-
want a sorry. Like,
Did I really sound like that?
Yeah,
Oh,
kind of.
man.
I was like, I've given you everything you want, so I'm walking away from here with not even so much as a damn sorry. And then I was just like, now I'm upset. Like,
I was
again.
thinking in my head, like, he came
That is
here, took time out of his day to explain exactly what
Yeah,
was going
I
on.
would say definitely for the
Damn,
mis-
sorry.
I was like definitely for the mistake that I had. Like you definitely stepped in. You're like, well, hold on. What was it that you were gonna not do? You weren't gonna write any letters, is that right? And then you were like, yeah. And then you were just like, you're like, oh shit.
Give me the paper.
Yeah, give me the paper.
Um,
I tried to not be like defensive in the point where it feels like you were being attacked. Did I do that at least? Because I felt like I was.
I felt like there were some points where I felt a little bit attacked, and that was kind of like another reason I kind of like, amped up like my hostility. It wasn't like I'm just being hostile to be hostile. First off, it was like I think part of it was like that inherent like time gap we talked about,
Mm,
and then like the relationship established between character and mediator, and then kind of just the fact that I wasn't noticing and acknowledging that there's no way I was going to get anything out of this mediation.
mm.
And so
Well, in all truth, it was good because I don't think we actually did establish that we would be getting something, and
Yeah.
that's why that needed to happen.
and I thought it was
So I
interesting
felt
that
like-
manifested in both mediations, like
Right.
party 2 gets nothing. So I was like, I don't know if that was like, I don't think like that past roleplay had affected it, but I felt like
That's just
it was a consistency that kind of just like
We can
proved
improve on.
how the cyclical nature of like this sort of situation goes. So. Did the above disposition seem to help the parties and contribute to a sense of effective dialogue? I mean, sometimes yes, but like, and then when we hit those snags, I was just like, shit, like, I don't know, as a party, I was just like, I don't really want to engage with him right now. I'm just disengaged, and then like, I was just like sitting over here, and I was just like,
You know what I tried to do? I tried to bring up I forgot the term for it, but it's when you use the worst case scenario. I tried Wana. When you bring out the Wana, I tried that at the very end in the sense where I was saying like, look, if you don't, or if you stay like this now, you're gonna continue this on. You're gonna be back here, and what's it gonna do? It's gonna affect the kid more than anything. I tried doing that, but I don't know. I didn't
I
see
mean,
that.
I didn't really see that, like, you know, like, as, in terms of, like, net loss, like, all I'd be losing is time and frustration, and I didn't really have to consent
I
to
felt like you
going-
lost sight of the kid too.
Not, I mean,
And like the only thing you saw was basically what she brought up was like, you're not gonna send letters and harass them, right? And you're like, all right, good, I'm getting that. You know, so.
I mean, I feel like we had really covered everything about, like, the kid, and then we kind of broke off into, like, a tangent about everything else, and then,
Yeah, it was more so just like, alright, we're gonna speak to the kids separately.
yeah. And then I was just like, I don't know how to, like, how do you bring it back to the kid from there? I was just like,
I still feel like, although like we did go in like the whole squiggle line or whatever,
yeah.
I feel like it flowed really well.
Yeah, no, it
even-
drives
even-
pretty well.
Even in this point where, at the very end, you know, like we were about to close it off, and you said hell no, basically. I feel like that was really just something that needed to happen. So like it was a good part of the mediation, regardless of if it was like intentional. Or,
And
like,
I think it was good that you asked, okay, so how do you feel?
Oh yeah, I was still like, yeah, I'm still pissed, but you know what? I'm just trying to get out of here. I was like, I'm not trying to like talk more about it because it's not going to do any good. So like, I was just like, you were like, are you uncomfortable? I was like,
Nah.
How did he say it?
I said, are you uncomfortable or angry or
yeah.
something?
I was like, you make, I really
I
want.
think I'm
Did he
uncomfortable.
say it like a
No, I don't think I did.
Low key,
Did
yeah.
I do?
Yeah, it was like you as mediator knew I was pissed at you, so you were like trying to egg that on, and I was just like,
just say it.
I was like, nah, dude, I don't have anything to say to you right now. Like, trying to leave, and then yeah, so I was like, my perspective. I was what 706. Did each mediator seem to push for a solution? If yes, how did that pushing impact the
I
parties?
actually need to know this answer. I think we kind of did. I'm not sure. Did you guys feel that?
I mean, I didn't feel pressured to a resolution. I feel like you guys invested more time in
Yeah.
following the story and finding out more information. Yeah.
That's good. You too?
Yeah, I felt the same.
Like, I feel like we kind of just,
Naturally.
like whatever, we've already exhausted every other part of argumentation, so where do we go from here? In your observation, did each mediator seem to understand the nuisances, respective feelings, points of view? I didn't feel understood, guys.
Are you serious?
No, I mean, I felt like about the student, like you guys felt like I felt understood there, but when we got into the whole latter part of the like mediation, I was just like disconnected. I was like, and I felt like part of that could have been like a reaction to the party's like aggressive nature, so it could have been like.
I'm like,
So what we should have said something.
we could have acknowledged it and be like, you know, you've been quiet for the past few minutes.
Or even like I understand you're upset, like that, like because of that having like you guys referenced like you were so upset, like that could have been something to address like as mediators, like
Sooner or just more often.
like
More
like
often?
not even more often, like it was more just like calm down like comments, like you know what I mean, like
Oh, so he was trying to say calm down more than.
why
no,
are you
you're
mad?
You're
That's a
upset.
very good point.
So I was
Good
like.
point. Good point.
So I was like, all right, whatever, I'm just keep you mad. Right, so I was like, okay, well, we're not exploring that. And,
Well, whatever.
Quick 2 questions.
alright, question number 8. In your observation, did each mediator seem to understand the nuisances of the parties? I feel like we went through that already, right?
Yeah.
So question number 9. What specific tools, character traits, or qualities did each mediator convey that worked well? I definitely saw like I saw a couple I messages. I felt like there.
You guys were validating.
Yeah, there was validation, some good I messages, questions. I didn't really feel like a lot of like empathy going on. I feel like it might have been like hard to connect.
Yeah, I feel
I
like.
swear to God, I tried to do that.
I don't know, I feel like this is
Swear to
kind of
God,
a hard scenario too,
That is
just because
kinda
it's just like, it's like I'm not making any sense anyways, like nothing.
How do you
I was
empathize with
I
me?
was trying like early on when I was like, To be honest, sometimes I might feel that way if there's like a stranger coming by or whatnot.
Yeah, I thought I clarified some sympathy by saying, someone's new and we could all feel a little uncomfortable, someone new coming into your neighborhood.
But I can see how we didn't do it with you that much.
Yeah, no, I mean, that, it happened, I don't know if it was like, I feel like I kind of did the same thing in mine, I don't know if it was like mediator bias or if it was just like informational context that was like throwing me off and like digging deeper into
Because,
it.
it wasn't something that was like, okay, well, the kid didn't do anything to hurt anyone. No one should feel hurt. Except for an email. It's not like he verbally, physically came up to you, so it's hard to express.
In fact, you were the reason why he was hurting, because you told me the situation.
That's true.
That's funny.
What specific tools or character traits or qualities did each mediator convey that needs attention and why? Kind of just
I think
Sympathy.
validating.
yeah. I'm just staying a little bit like, even for myself, staying like more passive, like when I'm a mediator, like making sure that I'm not gravitating towards one party or another, and like the way I kind of tonalize my voice and just make sure it's like.
Maybe better question.
Okay.
I feel like this one's kind of hard to question though, but I feel like we use a lot less questioning in this
Yeah.
mediation.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think questioning is just fine because it does bring out the information. It's just when you ask questions,
You have to like make sure
Get
that it's
an
like
answer.
the right question.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I know one of the things I noticed like doing this mediation is that I just like a lot of them close-ended questions in mine. I was like, is that true?
we use a few too, but I think like sometimes I felt like it was unavoidable because
Yeah.
we really do need a yes or no here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how all of the questions.
No, like not all of them were, because even in class he asked like one or two of them. I was about to be like close-ended question, but I
You
was like,
should have.
I did actually have like close-ended. Alright, well that concludes this for us, team. Wonderful
We're
job.
done. Okay, now what time is it?
2:40.
2:40. Oh, let's go.